Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we're taking a look at some Mythic Plus dungeons from the perspective of a Holy Paladin. And this is Darkheart Thicket plus 5, so this is the first one that I wasn't able to complete the timer on. I haven't had a ton of time to do these, but I'm very excited about them. I'm a huge dungeoneer, obviously, if you guys don't know that about me. I don't like to heal them as much as I would like to tank them, but since this is my main and I heal anyway, I might as well just get them done on this. And it also has a great potential to kind of carry the group. We'll talk about that a little bit, but the main thing I just want to bring up right now is that I sped this up. It's a 30+ minute video, but I just want to try to keep the videos a little bit shorter. So I sped it up about 7 minutes faster. So it might be noticeable at times, but regardless, I just want to put that down on paper because the timer is actually really important, right? So you think 30 minutes to complete a dungeon. It could be a lot, could be a little. I don't know. It's up to you guys how you feel. Dungeons have gone. I feel like 30 minutes to complete a mythic. Regular mythic was a fucking struggle with the pugs. And this is a group that has 2 pugs in it. So in the group, you'll find myself, Holy Paladin, Protection Paladin, that's Morgraine, and then we have a Demonology Warlock, that's K-Mans. These 3 people, obviously including me, are in the guild, and they're friends of mine. And then we have an Unholy Death Knight and an Elemental Shaman. Those 2 people are not in the guild. They're pugs, and they're relatively high item level. So we kind of discerned that by the time we were done here that these guys were kind of playing below their item level pretty severely. Not to say that the 3 of us are gods or anything like that, but we make a lot of mistakes, and the damage is now that I'm watching it back, it's actually pretty obvious, especially single target. These guys were like over 750, they're like 753 or something like that. One of them's got a legendary, and yeah, it was not what we would expect. But anyway, so yeah, Mythic Plus dungeons, guys. Something that I don't think it was present when I did them on the beta, or I don't know, I wasn't aware of it, but every time somebody dies, some time comes off. It's really bizarre. You know what they are doing here, man? They've been watching my videos, and they're like, all right, healers, good luck doing any damage, because now the ante gets upped a little bit. Like, every global I don't spend topping someone off is a global that could actually lose us time. So it's a really bizarre little back and forth here. Like, do I heal the tank, or do I heal the damage dealer, whatever, or do I do damage? Like, so I could easily save 5 seconds with the global, right? Like, easily cut 5 seconds off the pack with just a holy shock. But if the guy dies because of that global, then we just lost 10 seconds because I didn't save 5 seconds, and we also lost the time from the death. And then if everybody dies, apparently, I'm not exactly sure how this triggers. I'm pretty sure it's like that, but here's a good example of how you pull in dungeons, guys. Okay. Morgraine's like, dude, I don't think we should do this. And I was like, dude, just fucking go. I have every single CD up, and it gets pretty dicey. People do die, so like, yeah, we're under geared for this, to be honest. Like, I say plus 5 is like well over 750 at this point, but since they're not actually dropping the proper item level yet, it's hard to actually get where you want to go. But so yeah, I mean, 3 deaths. I don't know. Was it worth it? I'm not sure, but this is like, this is challenge mode mentality. As you see, the damage, not exceptional really, especially considering, elemental, whatever. But I don't know. It changes things. It really does. It kind of makes me think about these dungeons a little bit differently. And it kind of puts a premium on skips too, because every time you could skip something, you don't die to it. You don't have a chance to die to it. So yeah, this is kind of like there's a lot to consider here. There is a lot more to consider than there was, say 6 months ago when I first took a look at this like system, the whole Mythic Plus idea. It's very, it's interesting because if anybody dies, you're losing time. So sometimes people just fucking die. Like, there's nothing you can do about it a lot of the times, like even in challenge modes. That's why battle reses were so useful in challenge modes, was because like, people died all the time in challenge modes. Some shit just hit way too hard, and there was like no reason to even care about it. Or even worse, intentional wipes. Okay, so that's out the fucking window now. Like, there is no way an intentional wipe to like skip mobs is gonna ever happen. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe like if you're slaughtering times. I mean, I don't know. I guess so. Like, yeah, say maybe you could run through like a whole. Actually, you know what? How about this? Let's talk about this. So, but before I do, oh my god, these fucking bears, dude. I could have probably saved this if I used CDs a little earlier here, but you know I'm still learning as well. But these fucking bears, and look at that, bear's got like 1 health, so it's bolstering, by the way, guys. So that's an interesting affix. I obviously didn't get to see a second one, but like, yeah, it's a really interesting concept. I love this. I really like how dungeons are playing out so far. You know, already people are being a little bit too elitist, but hey, I knew this was going to happen from day one. I expected it. I called it. I told you guys that you need to play strong classes in 5-mans. And this shaman, like, he was like, "Thank you guys for inviting me," and we were like, "What? Why?" And he's like, "Dude, nobody will invite an Ellie shaman." It's like, all right, I guess so. And yeah, I've talked to priests as well. They're like, "Nah, if you're not holy, you're not coming, no matter what spec you're playing." So yeah, it's interesting. There's another death. So yeah, these bears are no joke with bolstering, because these mobs that chase you, they actually bolster it. You see how many stacks it has right now. So yeah, it's a tough one there, but we actually kill it, but we wipe. Anyway, so here's the first boss. So first time I could actually do real damage, and you're gonna see it's pretty good, man. I'm really excited about healers and dungeons in general. But you know, I'm a little bit more pensive now. I'm a little bit more concerned about this whole, if somebody dies, you lose time. I don't know, man. I don't like that. I understand why they're doing it. Like I said, they're trying to eliminate people doing just intentional skips and shit like that. But I don't know. Or like intentional wipes is what I meant to say there. But I just don't really feel it. It doesn't like appeal to me. It doesn't seem like the right thing, because dungeons are always, at least to me, they were always about get it done in any way possible. So that was real. That was a real big part of that mentality for me. And that was one of the tips I gave in that 13 dungeon tips. So that's now invalidated. You can't, I really don't, man. I'd be surprised to see, we'll talk about it when we get to that trash up there. The trash before Dresdarian or Dredarius done, I think. But anyway, yeah. I don't know. Is it worth it? Like just running by a bunch of mobs, dying on purpose, and then rezzing and losing the minute, or whatever it is. It might even be longer, but I don't know. It kind of makes me wonder exactly what these are going to look like at plus 15, because right now, obviously, you know, everybody in this group is 850ish. Just say that for average, but when we're like 880, is it really going to be that much easier? You know, is the 30 item level then going from plus 5 to now plus 15, is it actually going to be easier, or are these going to be insane? I think they're going to be insane, and I think everything I said in that video about the tips, I think is going to have to be the case. Like, you are going to have to play exceptionally well, and the timer seems lenient, but it's really not when these mobs all like. Bolstering, I think, is one of the worst ones timer-wise, because if you don't kill the mobs properly, like if you let them all bolster each other, it just gets, the pack takes forever. And then, of course, like, no grips. Luckily, we have a DK, but, like, I fear for people who don't have a DK, because some of these fucking mobs, man, they just are so annoying. And especially, you know, when they have, like, such a higher health pool, it's just, you have no choice. Like, you have to chase them around the whole time. And even with bolstering, so it's just like, yeah, it's a mess. It's really interesting to me, though, exactly like I said, exactly how it's going to play out in terms of who tanks, who heals. I think we're going to see a lot more meta conversion. Like, it's going to be a lot more important to bring the right comp from damage instead of the tank. So like in WoD, it was like blood or die, right? If you didn't have blood DK, you're fucking retarded. And if you didn't have a resto druid, you had a suboptimal comp. But now, I don't think it's going to matter as much, especially, obviously, because gear's involved. But maybe at the plus 15 level, it'll be very, very important. And I look forward to seeing, like, world progression Mythic pluses. I don't know if, can anybody tell me, is there, like, a website to see, like, have people done plus 15s already this week? Like, I would be really surprised to hear that. Now, these fucking mushrooms, guys, oh my god, these things will be a fucking catastrophe on higher. I don't know why they even put this shit in the game, to be honest, but it is, yeah, they hit fucking hard if everybody's standing next to them. But anyway, yeah, so is there a website or anything out there where I could kind of like monitor who's done what, and like maybe even see videos, like, you know, like speedruns live type website like that, where it shows like everybody's best times and stuff? I'd be really interested in watching that. Like, that is something I really am enamored with, this concept, with the plus, Mythic plus dungeon concept. And it's almost more appealing to me than challenge modes even were, because challenge modes, you're racing against yourself. But on this, you could always do better. And even though the gear doesn't go up like infinitely, plus 10 is definitely not going to be, it's no joke, especially when you're under geared. But I think like next week, now that they'll start dropping real gear, and then you're going to get the box from this week, and then obviously raids, like these things will be really nice to have. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how it plays out. I don't plan on healing a lot of them, but I definitely plan on doing a lot of them. And we'll see exactly whether or not blood is flavor of the month. I'm worried a bit. People are already like really big up on warrior, and I understand why. Like warriors, it's a great tank, guys. Like I'm not trying to say it's not, but there are things that warrior cannot do, and you can only get ignore pain can only take you so far. It's fucking amazing. It's definitely the best active mitigation in the game forever. Like there's never been one that's been better, but. Yeah, you need some self-healing too. You really do. Especially in, the harder difficulty you get, you can just save so many mistakes. And like, knowing that Morgraine could heal himself, I could fit in a lot more damage globals, and that's really important. But see that pro bop there, guys? See, that's high skill. What you're watching here is high skill. But yeah, it's fun. We pull pretty big, like even though it's +5 and we got pugs, we're pulling hard here. And the group isn't that bad. Like, first of all, I don't fucking came as Demo. I don't know. People were really going hard about Warlock being bad. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But yeah, Demo is hanging there with Unholy, and that dude's got a fucking legendary. Okay, so I mean, sure. What are you gonna say now? Well, that Unholy DK is bad. You know what I mean? He's got a legendary. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I definitely do not believe that Warlock is in a bad place at all right now. And especially just, from seeing the raid too, like he was doing very nice single target. So yeah, I think in terms of comps and, different distributions of classes, I think you're going to see a lot more leniency, as long as everybody knows what they're doing, at least for the, the gearing portion of it. Once it turns into like, all right, it's +15 now, it's time to complete it, then you need the best comp. You need, like the proper, whatever people are considering very good, burst and AoE, and of course a healer that can do some good damage, and a tank that could kind of solo stuff, so those are like the key fundamentals, if you ask me, of 5-man progression. A tank that is not healer reliant, the least healer reliant tank, of course, is blood. So I would say that he, is going to be the best tank. But of course, people prefer warrior because they are very bulky, and even though they rely on heals, their absorbing kind of mitigates a lot of the need for heals. But they're going to need it eventually. The damage is going to get by that shit at some point. But as of right now, it is a really good thing for when you're kind of like in the mid-tier gear-wise. And then, of course, you got other self-healers like Demon Hunter, and they are looking really good too. But in terms of damage, I think like people are already concerned about Shadow. People are like, Shadow Priest, never going to be able to go. And like I said, I've seen a lot of people just get insta-denied. Like Faldor was, 750. He had an eye level, or he had a legendary. And he's trying to, I'm sorry, Fowler's the guy in our guild. But anyway, he's trying to queue up for regular Mythics last week, and he's getting denied as a fucking 750 Shadow Priest. And they're like, nah, Shadow Priest is not good. Like, you can't bring it. Jesus Christ. So anyway, here's a good example here of me failing, basically. Tank dies there. I have CDs. I still have Devo up, so I could have used that. He would have survived, and I'm just a little bit too focused on doing damage, and it does hurt us. Yeah, we almost wiped because of it. But you're gonna see a fucking godlike Paladin here. Now that is absurd. Now what the fuck kind of game am I playing here? I had bubble up and I was still fucking taking damage. What the fuck is this nonsense? But yeah, that's no big deal, guys. It's just no big deal. Just gonna finish the boss off with that fucking holy shock, just like that. But yeah, so. Yeah, interesting difficulty-wise, these early ones, when you're under-geared and everything. It really does feel dangerous, and the timer is a looming threat now. So here, we're finally at this trash. So this is what I was thinking about before, right? What do you think? We just run by all this stuff. So think about how long it takes us to kill. Considering, just forget about the fact that we went the wrong way there for a sec. So if we just run by all this stuff, go to the end, die, and res at the boss, what do you think? You think that like losing that minute is worth it? I think it is, because this takes us a long time to kill. So, but now the decision is much more important. And now, so we're bolstering here. We need to be very, very careful because these mobs bolster each other. But also, we do not want to pull that water elemental dude, the red one. Because if we do, it's gonna fucking get bolstered, and it's gonna have like 9, even more. I think 10 stacks of bolstering. So it would be hard to kill. And then that's making things go slow. So these fixes are naturally they're natural evidence of why this is going to be better than challenge mode, because in challenge mode you do the dungeon the same way every single fucking time. You know what I mean? There was a strat that you adhered to, and you pulled the mobs in a certain way. But in this, you can't. You have to learn. You have to actually know. You have to understand. You have to realize the mechanics of these things. And when you don't, it's very dangerous. And that's basically the main reason we don't get the time here, is that the bears, those 2 bears where we wiped in front of the first boss, that set us back like 10 minutes at least, because we wiped 3 times. Well, we wiped 2 full times to them. And then there was other deaths, subsequent deaths, and of course just running back. So that is a big fucking deal. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't skip those in any way. So now, now we're at mob count. So I'm saying at this point, I was like, we got 5 minutes left. People are like Morgan's like the tank. He's like, nah, there's no way. We're not going to get this. Only 5 minutes left. I was like, dude, we're at mob count. Is there any way we can skip the rest of the trash? And I'm like, I still have invis pots and all this, but like, there's no way, because that this is ideal. Like, think about it. Iron Dicks, you get to Iron Docks. Sorry, when you did Iron Docks, right? You would just front load all the fucking trash, and then you would skip the rest of the fucking dungeon. So I'm thinking about that. I was like, dude, if we could do a fucking controlled wipe, or just skip all these fucking mobs, we could easily make this timer still. But yeah, it's just not in the cards. Obviously, these guys are not in voice communication with us. So now we definitely, so I'm saying this. I was like, he's like, all right, good. We'll skip this mob at least. So yeah, you could easily skip this thing here, guys. This is just pro strategy right here. You guys saw it, top tier skipping. Just a mob just walking around, so fucking clueless, brain dead mob like that. Just go ahead and fucking skip right past it. Now in this boss here, you're going to see another great mistake from me. And like I said, I'm happy to receive the criticism on this, because I am not playing very well. Now, I don't necessarily intend to heal, so I'll handicap myself by saying that. But it's just kind of how it is. Like, I'm not a healer who likes to do dungeons. That's just not me. But I do like the idea of doing damage. And as you can see, it's pretty considerable damage, man. It's adding, what, 10% of the bosses, so 10% of the boss's damage incoming, so not too shabby. But of course, I let it get to my head, and we die. Well, I die because of it. And you're going to see why it's a really brain dead mistake. I even have bubble up, and I'm just not playing. I'm not alive. I don't have it. So look at that. So I take an extra tick there, and have to soulstone there. Luckily, it got me the soulstone earlier. But it's unfortunate, you know what I mean? And that's an extra 5 seconds. Not like that matters that much, but now we're sub into 3. So like, if we were able to go right to the last boss, like, if this was the challenge mode, we kill this boss, go right to the last boss, we'd still make this time. It's only taking us about 2 minutes to kill each boss. So yeah, we would still make this time. And it would be tight, no doubt. But like, so like what I was thinking here was like, we can glide. So you jump down, glider, and then you just run to the end maybe, or glider and then invis or something. I don't know. I feel like there's a way to fucking do it, but it was going to be dangerous. Like, I didn't think we would make it all the way to the last pack. And that last pack, obviously, is very, very fucking brutal. So, yeah, so we're at mob count, killing mobs we don't need to kill. So this is something to consider as well. This is a big deal when you're talking about dungeons. Like, we are killing mobs we do not need to kill, and we don't make the timer because of it. We also wiped a bunch, and that is the main reason we didn't make the timer. But when you're doing a 5-man, you don't need to pull mobs. And when you're doing a one, I mean, that's why it has the mob count, That's the whole fucking purpose for having mob count. So you have to pull some trash, because otherwise the best strategy in the game would have just been to skip literally every single fucking piece of trash, and that would be the fastest way to do all dungeons. But so something I don't know why I'm even thinking about this right now, but is Shroud of Concealment still in the game? Do you guys know? I haven't actually played with we only have one rogue in the guild, and he's a new guy, so it's like, I don't know. Is Shroud of Concealment still in the game? Because I got to start thinking about ways to skip things, and it's going to be difficult to get people indoctrinated into it, like, without, like, nobody's going to fucking have invis pods anymore. So I don't know. I just don't know if it's the right choice to even invis pot. Now, another big fucking thing about this is how elusive potions are right now. They are so fucking expensive, man. There's just no way I can justify using potions in these dungeons. But if we did, and we didn't, nobody uses potions here, so that's interesting. Like, and I've heard potions are really, 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 really fucking strong right now. So if we had potions for every pull like we would in WoD, I mean, I don't know if they're trying to do this on purpose though. Like, they're trying to make potions more more coveted, so you can't really just, you know, use 60 of them in a Mythic Plus like I would have back in challenge modes. But I don't know. Either way, that goes a long fucking way, and I don't know if invis potting is ever going to be worth it based on how much damage I've seen these potions to do. But so maybe, you know, maybe so. We'll have to take a look at it. Like I said, I love to follow the meta, quote unquote. I'd love to follow like the people who are doing this very seriously. I don't know of any of them really at this point. So if you guys do, I would love to hear it. Like if there's like a stream or a website or something like that where I can kind of just check in and see people doing Mythic Plus, or, you know, check out progress of people doing Mythic Plus, I would love to see it. I think it would be really fun. That's like the main thing that I'm interested in right now at Legion. Obviously, I'm enjoying raiding, but to be honest, like 100% honest, I feel less passionate about raiding than I ever have, and I feel more passionate about dungeons than I ever have. So if it was up to me, this Tuesday and Wednesday, we would have just did 5-man instead of fucking actually raid. But either way, you got to do both, so we're going to do both. And you're going to get a lot of gear from both, you know. So that's the cool part about this game right now, man. There's just so many different ways to acquire gear. Like, I basically haven't gotten any gear. I did all these mythics. I have not gotten a single fucking piece from them. But meanwhile, a world quest pops that has 840 bracers, and I'm now suddenly, you know, I gain a whole item level because of that. So that's just awesome. I just love what they've done with Legion in terms of progression and gearing, and I think Mythic Plus is going to be the true testament to that. Really, inevitably, it's going to have to get changed a bit when, you know, the subsequent tiers come out. I don't know exactly how they plan on doing that, like how they actually plan on increasing the difficulty, right? Because if it doesn't give gear after plus 10, but when we're 900 item level in the next tier, then obviously, you know, it has to get changed. There's no fucking ifs, ands, or buts about it. But that's everything, guys. So yeah, we really just talked about Mythic Plus here. Didn't really talk about much else, but you can see the damage. You know, like I said, I really think it's low, especially on this last boss here. But that's pretty much the long and the short of it. If you guys have any questions about anything, or you'd like to contribute, tell me a little bit about, you know, the pro scene, the Mythic Plus pro scene. Let me know. I'd love to talk about that. But yeah, otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video. And thanks for watching, as always.